Can you guys hear me? Yeah, awesome. So I'll talk about the guy who saved me when I was 5 and I was trying to drive the car for the first time. Actually, it was my dad. Unfortunately, he passed away 11 years ago. I was 18 at the time. And it's funny because you have a lot of stories, and then as time goes by, you start to pick the stories, and then you start to have a more broadened picture, understand people better. And I think it happens with our girlfriends, wives, husbands, parents, and so on. Anyway, but this guy saved me when I was 5. He, just to be really quick, he tried to, I saw the car, he just left the car. He parked in front of our house. I entered the car when he left, and I turned the car, and the car started moving. And oh my God, and I was 5 at the time, and I don't know why I did that. I jumped out of the car 3 seconds later, and I remember seeing my dad running, and then grabbing the car, entering the car, and parking the car. Anyway, and I think I learned a lot of stuff with this guy, and it'd be great to share with you guys the things I've learned and how important he was to me. We never went that close as friends, that dad and son that most you seen on movies and stuff. We had different styles, but somehow I learned something with him. The jokes, we can try to do jokes as good as he used to do. And well, but what I really liked of my dad, he was a really principled guy, and I think that his beliefs comes first in everything else. And he was somehow really simple person. He didn't complete the junior school. Actually, he was the 3rd son out of 9 in the countryside of Brazil, and he had to left school pretty soon to take care of his younger brothers and work with his dad. He used to work in the cotton field, so it was really hard. And since that time, since he was, I guess, 7, 8 years, he started working. And he worked until his last day. The last day he lived, he was 15. It was pretty young. Well, and actually, as I said, we were from a really simple family in Brazil. I also have a sister. She's older than I. She's 1.5 years older than I. And most of the time, you have a lot of financial problems at home. So my dad didn't have a job. I mean, he had a job, but every time he was finding a job or trying to make a living, we didn't have monthly salary. So usually we had to earn money in that day and then go to the supermarket and buy food and that stuff. So this is kind of annoying, but it's okay. We can live with that. And with that comes a lot of interesting things that, for example, you are a kid, you are 10 years old, you see your friends traveling during the summer, and you want to travel, and then you ask your dad, and your dad didn't have the money, and what can you have, what can you do? And it's funny because part of my family, at the same time, my father, when I was something like 10 years old, he started to work in the fish market in Brazil, in São Paulo. So he was doing basic stuff, lifting box of fishes, shrimps, all the stuff. And he used to earn a couple of bucks a day. And at the same time, I used to see my uncles who work with him, and the guys make a lot more money than him. And then I started questioning, so Dad, why can't you make money? So you're smart, and you can do math with your head and do a lot of good stuff. You are really clever, you know how to fix a car by yourself, you never took a class. And he said, well, Juliano, there are some things in life that's not that simple, you have to learn with that. And then down the road, I realized that actually these guys who worked with my dad was taking advantage of the system and were profiting by themselves. The guys understand me. And this was the way that the guys find out to, actually 95% of the guys find out to make more money, And when I look back and I see the situation that we as a family used to live, where we have a few resources, I never faced any hard problem to buy food or this stuff. But we didn't have more money to travel, to buy a PlayStation 1 or something like that. Actually, the day I won my PlayStation 1, I waited for a year to get PlayStation 1, and I had fever the night before. I couldn't realize that I was supposed to get that, but I got it. It was awesome. The bad thing is that I spent my whole summer playing video games. Anyway, but what I've learned through this experience with my dad is that sometimes it's not easy to be principled. And when you have your whole family and you have not your whole family, but you have a couple of people from your own family doing stuff that you don't like, and providing things for the kids that you can't provide. And every single day you face this reality and you don't. And you keep moving forward and you stick to your beliefs and doing the right thing. I think this is incredible, hard to do. I don't see many people doing this nowadays. I think in Epsilon you speak a lot about how can we be principled, how can you improve the world, how can you change things and make this world a better place to live. But I think that when you just prove yourself, when you really face hard situations, just like my dad did, and it's not common to discuss, do the right thing when you have a lot of problems, just like he had. And this for me is something really, really, really interesting. I think that it was better than all the gifts that and the presents that I didn't receive my whole life. But it's hard because you're young, you're a teenager, you want to travel with your friends and you don't have money. So at the time it was really hard to understand. And I think because of this, it was really hard for me and my father to have a good relationship. But I just don't want to talk about this sad stuff, so I want to talk about the other stuff. It's funny also at the same time that my dad was a really hard guy in the sense that he stick with his beliefs, that he was a really funny guy. And it was interesting because sometimes we were in a really, really hard situation, solving a really hard problem, and he would come happy, smiling, telling jokes, and saying new stuff, and telling that I was doing well in school and all this stuff. So it was really interesting because he never, I think at least in my front, saw that he was, I don't know, struggling or something like that. So, and I think this is a great personality, this is a great attitude that he had, and I wish I could have the same. At least I'm trying day by day to do that stuff. And this was and just to conclude, I think this was the experience that I learned with him. I mean, how can you be principled, how we can face your day-to-day dilemmas and smiling and be a nice person and be loved by your family, your friends, and so on. And he lived this way his whole life. This was the last picture that I had of him. I remember that he died in a tragic car accident. But I remember that I saw him the day before, and it was 9 p.m. He was arriving from the job. He was really tired, sweating, and he arrived at home. I was cooking something. I remember why I was cooking. I never cooked. My wife knows that I'm terrible. And I was preparing something for it, and I was at the time finished high school, and I remember that I opened the door, and he knocked the door. I opened the door, and he was there, smiling at me, and gave me his hand and shake hands. And he didn't say anything. I didn't say anything too. But I think somehow we said everything. And that was the last time we talked. Thank you, guys.